pack leaders in house. Roar! Oh, low health bar. Gotta go. Slap him. Boom. Oh my God. I got. Oh, double dunk, baby. Roar! Oh, off balance. You about to eat a heavy. Oh, 9K heavy. Oh, yes! So that was me playing a werewolf in PvP, and the first time in about 4 to 5 years. Oh boy, has it changed, and it is absolutely insane strong. And we're right around Halloween time, so what better time to celebrate with the werewolf PvP build? This is my werewolf PvP build for the update 32 Deadlands and beyond. Buckle up and howl at the moon. This one's good. In this video, what you can expect is going over why playing a werewolf, why we're using a stamina sorcerer, basic mechanics for a werewolf in case you're unaware of those, skill, gear, champion points, and more. If you like this type of content, make sure to hit that like, that subscribe button. Follow me over on twitch.tv/Deltiasgaming where I stream these builds live. Thanks for watching. First question up is, should you play this build? The werewolf has a lot of strengths, and number one strength, it's incredibly easy to play. You get just one bar. You can't bar swap, making the skills very easy, and you're rewarded for light and heavy attacks. Healing scales off your max health, so it's very friendly for folks that stack a lot of health. It has high mobility and some group utility with the ultimate and some of the skills. And you have major buffs for slotting your basic skills. You have increased sprinting speed, stamina recovery, and max stamina. There are some downsides. There's plus 25% damage from poisons, and they hurt. Plus 20% damage from Fighters Guild skills, and that hurts. You have a little bit higher ability costs, so you have to be cognizant of your stamina sustain. And you have no defensive ultimate, so you must rely on your skills, line of sight, and high mobility for survival. The answer is this: if you should play a werewolf build. Heck yes! They're fast, they hit really hard, and it's quite different and simple. Plus the gear sets, some of them are quite easy to get, and I'm going to give you some flexible options. Next question up is, what class should you pick for a werewolf? And number one is a stamina sorcerer. It makes the best for a werewolf. And the reason why is the class passives. There are certain class passives for the stamina sorcerer that require no active skill, no slotting of a skill, and it's just built for the werewolf. Let's take a look at the most impactful one. Something like Power Stone reduces the cost of ultimates by 15%. This is quite useful for getting in werewolf form quickly, and if you get out of it because of death or you're not filling up your meter, and you can get right back in there. Unholy Knowledge is up next. Remember that high stamina cost of abilities? Well, the sorc has reduced health, magic, and stamina cost by 6% just due to this passive. Amplitude, increasing your damage done against enemies by 1% for every 10% current health they have, meaning you just simply hit harder by having this passive. Energized, increase your physical and shock damage by 5%. These passives and more make Stamina Sorcerer the best in slot for a werewolf build, though you can use any class. Let's talk about werewolf mechanics and the basic fundamentals of what it's like playing a werewolf. And first, how do you become a werewolf? You can become a werewolf by getting a bite from a friend or an ally that has one of the passives in the skill line. There are 3 shrines throughout the base game, 1 in each faction. So Reaper's March for Ordinary Dominion, Bankurai for Daggerfall Covenant, and the Rift for the Everheart Pact. With one Tamriel, you can go to either one regardless of your faction, but just keep in mind, these are where they are. Once you get a bite, you'll go through an intro quest that teaches you the basics of werewolf. I'd suggest that you finish the quest line and do not exit the area. You can kill critters roaming in this area and stay in werewolf form permanently if you need to level up the skill line. So now you got werewolf unlocked. You put the ultimate on your skill bar while in human form. You click that, boom, you pop into werewolf form and you're ready to go. Your bar's gonna change, and then you're gonna have those skills we talked about to choose from. You also can resurrect while you're in werewolf form, use synergies and siege weapons. And you can also bash, dodge, and block. In the basic mechanics though, it's a bit deceptive looking, so don't expect a big huge telegraph when you dodge. While in werewolf form, you're gonna have some effects. You get plus 10,000 physical and spell resistance, plus 30% max stamina, plus 30% increased sprinting speed, plus 15% increased stamina recovery. And the cons, like I mentioned, you're also going to take plus 25% damage from poison attacks and plus 20% damage from Fighters Guild skills. There's actually a benefit to having Werewolf Ultimate on your bar. You get 15% stamina recovery while in human form. As I mentioned earlier, once you go into werewolf form using your ultimate, your skill will change. There's a small little tracker, a red bar under your stamina bar that will track how long you can remain in werewolf form. The basic premise is this: the more you attack, the easier it is to stay in werewolf form via the passive Blood Rage. Moreover, you can feed on corpses with the synergy key via the Devour passive to get extra time in werewolf form, and when you max it out completely, you can pretty much stay permanently in werewolf form if you like. As a werewolf, your primary damage ability is not spamming skills. Essentially, since you only have one bar, it's light attacks and heavy attacks. Your light attacks will inflict bleeding and proc enchants on your weapons. With the Pursuit passive, heavy attacks restore a staggering 50% more stamina if fully charged. And that's why you want to set up your skills in your gear to reward you for light and heavy attacks, and while you're in werewolf form, getting stamina back, and especially magicka. So now that you know the basics, let's talk about the important pieces, and that's skill and gear. I'm going to go over just the werewolf skills, so the full build page on my website has more details on the stamina sorcerer in general. So if you're interested in that, don't wish to use werewolf, look in the link in the description below. I set these skills up and how I use them left to right since it makes most sense to me. Keep in mind, I always play more tanky and lean towards resource sustain and survivability, so change out these morphs and skills as you see fit, because I'm not going for a 1-to-1 kill death ratio here. Our first ability up is Pounce, our gap closer, 5 to 22 meter range, and I go with the Feral Pounce passive. What it's going to do is jump and leap at an enemy doing bleed damage. You can activate that ability again within 5 seconds, and it kind of acts like an execute. The important piece of this is dealing damage with either attack restores stamina and extends your werewolf transformation by 1 second. So you can use it as a gap closer if someone goes away, and also a way to extend your werewolf transformation. Next ability up is Claw, and I go with the Claw of Life morph. What it does is an AoE conal in front of you that swipe does physical damage and additional disease damage over 10 seconds. The important piece of this is it restores your health equivalent to 100% of the damage inflicted, so it heals you based on the percentage of disease damage done. And enemies hit with the initial hit are afflicted with the disease status effect. This is a crazy, highly recommended morph because it really makes you more survivable. If you hit 2 to 3 people, the amount of healing you're going to receive from this is absolutely staggering, and they won't be able to touch you. Next ability up is Roar, and I go with the Deafening Roar morph, 8 meter radius, and essentially acts as an AoE fear/stun. It can stun and fear up to 6 nearby enemies. When we say the word fear, what that means is even if you're blocking, you're still going to get hit with this if you're in range. It's also going to set them off balancing, prepping them for a fully charged heavy attack. And with this morph, you're going to do Major Breach and Major Maim, so reducing their resistances, allowing you to do more damage, and also reducing their healing. Simply slotting this ability gives you Major Savagery, increasing your weapon critical. So usually I leap in, I do a Claw, and then I hit Deafening Roar to stun him. Next ability up is kind of like our AoE spam bull, and it's Piercing Howl. I go with Howl of Agony. Crush enemies with a Deafening Howl and dealing physical damage to them. Enemies who are facing you take 25% more damage, or who are feared. So it's a really natural go-to progression after you fear them and you're facing them, bang, hit them with a Howl for a huge nuke. Last ability up is our Heal, and it's a real tricky one. Hircine's Bounty, and I take Hircine's Fortitude. What you're going to do is cast this, and it costs magic, which is very important and really goes into why we use specific gear sets, healing you for 57% of your max health. Thus, the higher your health pool, bigger this heal is, and why we spec heavy into max health in our attribute. This also increases your health and stamina recovery by 5% of the healing cost for 6 seconds, up to a max of 666. Now, there's a really important caveat with using this ability. If you're at full health, using magic, which is what the ability costs, now restores stamina. That's why you have a little bit more magic recovery, or our item set Engine Guarding to fill up our magic, go give us some stamina gas. You actually ping pong back and forth between both pools. If you don't have max stamina and you have a bunch of magic with this build, start howling and channel that magic over. Let's switch gears and talk about gear. And so you have a bunch of 5-piece options. The one that is probably the simplest and easiest to get a hold of is Deadlands Assassin. This is in Blackwood, and you can get it dirt cheap on the trader. In Werewolf, you're going to get tons of extra weapon damage via a passive. So the 5-piece set and the 2 and the 3 reward weapon damage, and it's going to amplify even further with their medium armor passive Agility. The 5-piece is a little complicated, but has an extra advantage that if you hit enemies within 10 meters with a heavy attack, you throw some knives, dealing physical damage. If they're below 50% or less, they take additional bleed damage for 13 seconds. This effect can occur every 15 seconds and scales off your highest weapon or spell damage. Remember, procs will be able to crit in the Deadlands. And also remember that procs at scale off of weapon damage. In werewolf form, you have a ton of weapon damage, especially as a stamina sorcerer. So if you pick the right race, you pick the right Munda Stone, and the gear sets, this thing's gonna hit like a truck and just provide so much dot pressure, it's gonna be hard to deal with. You have a couple different options in case you don't want to get this or you want something else, and I would highly recommend still sticking with proc sets. The other proc set I'd go with, and what I use in this footage primarily, is Plague Break. This is gonna get a nerf in Deadlands patch, so it's not gonna be as good single target, but if you're planning on fighting massive cyrodiil keep fights, this is really good. Option number 3 is Savara Scale, another easy to get set. It's an AoE dot pressure set that's very easy to proc on cooldown and hits in an area, making it very good for large fights or individual. Now, Engine Guardian fans, raise your hand. I know you are. This is the critical piece to this set. Why you use this is going to give you health, stamina, or magic at random. As a stam sorcerer orc, you constantly need magic to feed into your stamina. If it gives you stamina, great. You can also use that. This is your resource sustaining tool outside of fully charged heavy attack and potions. Especially getting that magic back, it's critical to the build. The 5-piece I go with on my back bar that's not active while I'm in werewolf form is Daedric Trickery. Essentially, it's going to give you 1/5 major buffs that it's very important, and a really good one is Major Heroism, allowing us to get back into werewolf quickly. It frees up 1 mythic spot for Death Dealer's Fate. This is going to give us extra max stats while we're in combat. Think max stamina, which we already get a benefit from, and think max health, which is very critical for this build because our healing scales in effectiveness based off of max health, and we need a massive magic pool anyways. At full stack, 60 seconds in combat, you're going to get over 2,600 max stats across the board. If you don't have access to Death Dealer's Fate, there's 2 options. You can go with the trainee gear, 2-piece, for a little bit extra max stat. You could also go with something like an arena weapon, Vatishram Hollows, for a little bit more weapon damage and another proc. Either way, it works very well, but I'd highly recommend going after this mythic because it's critical for the build. Now what I want to show you is a 1.5-minute clip from my stream where I kind of fight and use this build narrated a little bit with minor trash talk and show you exactly how this looks. Okay, so jump in the back, fear him, slap him. It's a necro, super tanky. Heal up. There we go, low health, low health. Low health, got him. All right, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. Yep. So now I got plenty of magic, so let's just spam that a couple times. Okay. Line of sight. We got to focus these sorcs. They're just let's try to fear them. Got him. The dot should kill him. There we go. Dot killed him. Let's line of sight. So we got to pick and pop here. Those sorcs at range just have too much pressure. Oh, there we go. Well, caught one slipping. Yep, caught one slipping. 7,800. 7,800 hit on that thing. So let's jump in. We're going to jump in and we're going to fear and then heavy attack. Jump, fear, fully charged heavy attack. See how he's off balance? See how he's off balance? Double resource sustain. Boom, baby! Now we're going to howl, get up to full health. Use that howl for our resource sustain tool. There we go, there we go. Yep, keep on howling, Big G. We're jumping in, jumping in. Boom! Oh, look at that dot pressure. Slap him. Yeah, 7,700 non-crit. Boom, this thing working, kids. America. No relation to America. Necro, you're going down, fam. There we go. So let's howl a couple times, get full health. Okay. Jump, jump, jump. Low health bar. Block, block, block. I'm sorry, y'all. There we go. Got him down. Let's line of sight. I'm low on gas. Low on gas. Yeah. Low on gas. Now that video is over, let's talk about the finer details and the miscellaneous pieces to make this build shine. Attributes, you're going to go all health, 64 into health because your healing is based off of max health. Yes, you will do less damage, but I go tanky and I want to survive. Don't want to go 1-to-1 kill death ratios. Orc is the racial choice I pick. Reason being is it has sprint speed, cost reduction, it has weapon damage and max stats, especially for stamina. Exactly what we want. The food that I go with is the Bee Wood Fish Sugar Skulls. You really need tri-food, especially something with magicka. Since we can get back stamina pretty easily with fully charged heavy attack, we get back max magic with Engine Guardian and tripods, so having a bigger pool is better. Mundstone, I go with the Warrior, increased weapon damage, because it's critical for both our healing and our proc set damage. You can go with either poisons or enchants on your weapons like Poison and Disease, also work great. Champion points, I spec into heavy defensive as always. So in the Warfare tree, I go with Duelist Rebuff, Ironclad, Unassailable, Master at Arms. Fitness tree, I go with Celerity, Expert Evasion, Sustained by Suffering, and Pain's Refuge. In the Craft tree, I go with Treasure Hunter, Rasher, Liquid Efficiency, and Steed's Blessing. And that's the Werewolf build. You can take this and use it on any class you want, but I highly recommend trying on a Stam Sorcerer if you have it. I was skeptical of Werewolf builds, haven't been playing them in years, and I just had an absolute riot, and I'll be playing a lot more on twitch.tv/Deltiasgaming, so come check that out. I stream about 4 days a week, 3 days Elder Scrolls Online. You're gonna love it. Also, if you like this content, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, leave me a comment what you liked or maybe what you didn't, and your werewolf tips for the community. As always, thanks for watching.